The night sky above Earth was quiet, but in the deep cold of space, far from any planet or star, a listening post kept its silent watch. This station, called Horizon Relay 7, was small compared to warships or trading stations, but its purpose was vital. It had massive dishes and antennas built to catch the faintest whispers traveling between the stars. Inside, a small crew worked in shifts, monitoring endless streams of static and background noise. Most of the time, nothing unusual happened. The universe spoke in the same low hum every day, and the crew had learned to live with the boredom. But on this day, the hum changed. Technician Omar was the first to notice it. He sat at his console, sipping cold tea, when a sudden burst of sharp tones cut through the static. His eyes widened as the screen lit up with a strange wave pattern. It was not random. The signal was structured, repeating in a careful sequence. Omar quickly ran it through the basic analysis tools. The data confirmed that this was not a natural signal. It was intelligent. "Commander, you need to see this," Omar called out. Commander Harris entered the control room, a tall man with calm eyes and a steady voice. He had served on Horizon Relay 7 for many years and had seen false alarms before. But he could tell from Omar's expression that this was different. "What do we have?" Harris asked. Omar played back the recording. A series of pulsing sounds filled the air, followed by a second pattern in a deeper tone. Then, a longer segment began, almost like a speech. Harris watched the visual translation feed, showing the precise timing of every sound. "This is deliberate," Harris said quietly. "Someone is speaking to someone else out there." Omar nodded. "And it's strong enough to reach us, which means they are sending it on purpose or using powerful transmitters." The commander tapped his console, linking the signal to Earth's central data network. Within minutes, linguists and cryptographers in orbiting labs began working on it. The signal was encrypted, but the structure suggested it carried more than just a message. It might contain orders, coordinates, or even a declaration of war. Hours passed, and the team worked without rest. Slowly, words began to emerge from the noise. The translation software gave its first rough result, and everyone in the room leaned in to read. "To all allied forces, urgent request, enemy advancing. Hold positions, humans. Dangerous, request immediate action." The room went silent. "They are talking about us," Omar said. Harris read the lines again, his mind racing. Somewhere out there, another civilization had sent a distress call to its allies. And in the middle of that call was a warning about Earth. That meant to things these beings knew about humanity. And they were not friendly. The commander contacted Earth Fleet Command within the hour. The highest leaders of Earth's defense network joined a secure conference. Admiral Vega, a sharp-eyed woman with a voice like steel, spoke first. "We cannot ignore this. If another species is warning their allies about us, they either see us as a threat or plan to make us one. We will find out which it is." Harris reported the exact coordinates of the source. The signal had traveled from a region near a bright blue star known in human charts as Vesta Prime. The distance was vast, but not beyond the reach of modern ships on Earth. Political leaders debated how to respond. Some argued that humanity should remain silent and avoid attention. Others warned that silence could be seen as weakness. In the end, the decision was clear. If someone out there was preparing to act against Earth, humanity would be ready. Meeting of senior officers was called. Captain Rena, a respected officer with years of patrol experience, was selected to lead a reconnaissance mission to the signal's origin. She was calm under pressure and known for thinking several steps ahead of her enemies. Her orders were precise: travel to the source, gather all possible information, and return without unnecessary conflict. When Rena received the mission details, she studied the translation of the alien message carefully. The wording suggested urgency, almost desperation. Whoever had sent it was under attack and wanted help fast. But why mention humans? The thought troubled her. She met with her crew aboard the Starship Horizon Spear, a fast and well-armed vessel built for long-range missions. The crew listened in silence as she explained the situation. "We are not going into fight unless we must," Rena told them. Our job is to see who is calling for help, why they are calling for help, and why they named us in their warning. We will keep our eyes open and our weapons ready as the ship left the orbital docks. The stars stretched into long lines. The Horizon Spear entered faster than light travel, cutting across the dark space between systems. Inside the command deck, the crew worked with quiet focus. The journey would take days, and during that time, Rena reviewed every known record about alien encounters. The Vark, the suspected origin of the signal, were an old and proud species. Records suggested they had visited Earth's star system many decades ago, but had left without making contact. No one knew why. Some scientists believed the Vark had judged humanity to primitive at the time. Others thought they had found nothing of value. Now, it seemed, they had been watching all along. Meanwhile, on Horizon Relay 7, Omar kept monitoring the channel. The signal continued to repeat, looping the same desperate call again and again. Occasionally, there were slight changes in the background, like faint echoes of explosions or the static of damaged transmitters. Whoever sent it was still out there, still under pressure, back on Earth. The intercepted message caused a stir among the public once it leaked through unofficial channels. News reports speculated about alien threats, secret wars, and humanity's place in the galaxy. Officials neither confirmed nor denied the details, but preparations continued in silence. In the cold of space, the Horizon Spear pushed onward toward Vesta Prime. Rena stood at the front viewing port, watching the endless stars. She knew that once they arrived, they might find answers or they might find danger beyond anything Earth had faced before. But she also knew one thing: if the Vark thought humanity would simply hide, they were mistaken. The mission had begun, and there was no turning back. The Horizon Spear moved through the endless dark, its engines whispering against the quiet of space. For most of the crew, the journey was a time of routine checks and quiet work. But for Captain Rena, the long hours were filled with reading and preparation. She spent her nights in the ship's archive room, surrounded by glowing screens filled with old reports and classified records. Humanity's history with alien life was short but intense. The first confirmed encounter had been 50 years earlier, when an automated mining probe found strange fragments buried in an asteroid. The fragments carried markings not made by human tools. No one knew who had left them there. Over the years, there had been other signs, objects moving at impossible speeds through the outer system. Transmissions too faint to track, and unexplained energy spikes on the moon's far side. But most of these events had no clear answers. The Vark, however, were different. Rena pulled up the oldest known Vark record in Earth's database. It was a grainy image captured by a long-range telescope decades ago. The image showed a sleek alien craft passing through the Kuiper Belt. The craft had not stopped or changed course, but for weeks afterward, small probes were detected entering the outer planet's orbits. They did not approach Earth, and after a short time, they were gone. Some historians believe the Vark had been quietly studying Earth for generations. Others thought they had no real interest in humans until now. But the fact remained, if they had known about humanity all this time, they had also chosen to keep their distance. That choice had now changed. Rena leaned back in her chair, looking at the image again. It was strange to think that somewhere, a Vark captain might be studying her in the same way she was studying them. Her second officer, Tomas, stepped into the archive room. He was younger, but his curiosity was sharp. "You are still going through the old files," he said. Rena nodded. "The past has answers. Even if we do not see them at first, we need to understand how the Vark think." Tomas pulled up a chair. "If they have been watching us for years, then they already know what we can do. So why send a warning about us in their message? Why not leave us out of it?" "That is what I keep asking myself," Rena said. "It might mean they think we will interfere. Or maybe they fear we will side with their enemies." Tomas tapped the display, bringing up a star map. The Vark home systems were far from Earth, separated by several unclaimed sectors of space. Between them were scattered colonies, trading posts, and the territories of other species. "It is not easy to get from here to there," Tomas noted. The Krill, the other faction we suspect, controls some of the shorter travel routes. If the Vark are under attack, they might think we are helping the Krill. Rena narrowed her eyes. Or they might think the Krill are helping us. Either way, it shows they already see us as a player in their game, while the officers studied the past. The rest of the crew kept the Horizon Spear in perfect condition. Engineer Leon ran full checks on the ship's power systems, ensuring the faster-than-light drive would be ready for quick escape or pursuit. Navigator Merrick calculated dozens of alternate routes in case they encountered hostile patrols. On the fourth day of travel, a new update came from Earth Fleet Command. Omar from Horizon Relay 7 had continued to monitor the signal, and small changes had appeared in the background noise. Sometimes, faint voices could be heard beneath the main message. They were too distorted to understand fully, but the tone suggested urgency. Explosions and static hinted that the source of the transmission was still under attack. Rena called a meeting in the command room. The holographic tables showed the Vark system where the signal came from. Around it, green markers showed possible positions of Vark ships, while red markers suggested Krill presence. Our arrival will not go unnoticed, Rena said. If the Vark see us as a threat, they might try to block our approach. If the Krill see us as an ally of the Vark, they might try to attack before we get there. Either way, we must be ready for contact. Merrick leaned forward. Do we plan to speak first, or do we wait for them to hail us? We speak first if it is safe. Rena said, we show them that we are here to learn, not to start a fight. But if they attack, we defend ourselves. The crew nodded in agreement. They knew the mission was dangerous, but none of them wanted to turn back. As the ship moved deeper into unclaimed space, Rena found herself thinking about the larger meaning of the mission. Humanity had always been curious, always reaching for new horizons. But this was different. This was not exploration for its own sake. This was stepping into the middle of a conflict between powers, far older than Earth's space age. That night, she returned to the archive room. She searched through the classified files again and found one report that caught her attention. It was an interview with an old deep space miner who claimed to have spoken with a Vark years ago on a neutral station. The miner had described the Vark as tall, with calm, deliberate movements, and a habit of studying every word before speaking. They were polite but distant, and they avoided giving clear answers. At the bottom of the report was a line from the interviewer. The Vark are patient. They wait for the right moment to act. They may wait for years. Rena closed the file and stared at the map. If the Vark had been patient for so long, what had forced them to send this urgent call now? The next day, the Horizon Spear detected a faint energy trail in the system ahead. It was old, perhaps a week or more, but its signature did not match any human design. Leon confirmed it was Vark in origin. The trail led toward the direction of the Vesta Prime system. Following it would take them directly into the region where the Krill were known to operate. Rena ordered the crew to follow at a safe distance, using the ship's stealth systems to avoid detection. Every hour they traveled deeper into alien territory, the tension grew. The stars outside the viewing port looked the same, but the crew felt the weight of being far from home, in a place where no help could reach them quickly. Still, there was a sense of purpose in every step they took. The shadows of history had begun to take shape, and the answers to the Vark's sudden call were waiting just ahead. The Horizon Spear emerged from faster-than-light travel. On the edge of a silent star system, the stars here burned faint and cold, their light barely touching the rocky planets that drifted around them. The crew sat in tense silence as the ship's sensors reached out across the void. Captain Rena stood at the main display, watching as the readings formed on the screen. The trail they had been following was still present, a faint energy signature, leading toward the systems in a region. Merrick, the navigator, adjusted the scan range. There's movement ahead, Merrick said. Several small ships, no human signature. The design matches Vark technology. Rena studied the readings. The Vark ships were clustered together, orbiting a large cruiser that was drifting slowly. Energy levels from the cruiser were low. Its shields were weak, and its hull showed signs of damage. Looks like they have been in a fight, Tomas said, leaning over his console. Before Rena could reply, a sharp alarm sounded. The Vark ships had detected the Horizon Spear. The communication channel lit up, showing a stream of alien symbols. The translation program worked quickly, and a stern voice filled the bridge. "Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Identify yourself and withdraw immediately." The message repeated twice before going silent. "They do not sound welcoming," Tomas said. Rena gave a small nod. "Open a reply channel. Let us see if they will talk." When the channel opened, Rena spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Captain Rena of the Earth vessel Horizon Spear. We are here on a reconnaissance mission. We detected your signal and came to investigate. We are not here to attack." There was a long pause. The Vark did not reply right away. Instead, their ships began moving into formation, slowly spreading out to block the Horizon Spear's path. Their movements were precise and deliberate, almost like a silent warning. "They are positioning for a firing arc," Merrick reported. Rena took a steady breath, shields to full. "Do not target them, but be ready," the Vark voice returned, colder than before. "Earth vessel, you are trespassing. Leave the space now or be fired upon." "They are not going to let us pass," Tomas said quietly. Rena's eyes narrowed. "Then we show them we are not easy to push aside." She gave quick orders. The Horizon Spear shifted to the left, breaking from its direct approach. The Vark ships adjusted to block the move, but Rena's crew was ready. Engineer Leon activated the ship's precision jammer, sending a short pulse that scrambled the targeting systems of the two nearest Vark ships. "They just lost their lock on us," Leon said. "Good, keep it that way," Rena replied. The Horizon Spear moved forward in a sudden burst, passing between the confused Vark ships without firing a shot. Rena kept the weapons on standby, but she gave no order to attack. This was a show of skill, not aggression. The Vark cruiser loomed ahead, its hull scarred from battle. As the Horizon Spear approached, the Vark ships behind them hesitated. They had not expected a human vessel to maneuver past their blockade so easily. "Captain," Merrick called out, "the cruiser is hailing us now." Rena nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and a Vark officer appeared. His skin was a pale gray, his features sharp, and his eyes a deep shade of blue. He studied Rena for a long moment before speaking. "You are human," he said. His tone was not as hostile as before, but it was still guarded. "Yes," Rena answered. "We intercepted your signal. We came to see who sent it and why you spoke of humanity in your call for aid." The Vark officer's eyes narrowed slightly. "That message was not meant for you. It was meant for our allies. You should not be here." "And yet here we are," Rena replied. "Your enemies may become our concern if they threaten our home. We will not ignore warnings that name our people." The Vark officer seemed to consider her words. His gaze shifted briefly as if he was listening to someone off-screen. Finally, he spoke again. "Your presence here will not be welcomed by many among my people, but the Krill will not care for our debates. They will strike again soon." The name caught Rena's attention. "The Krill attacked you?" The officer gave a slow nod. "Yes. They are aggressive, without restraint. They will not stop until they claim what is ours. And if they think you are helping us, they will come for you as well." Before more could be said, a sudden alarm rang through the Horizon Spear. The sensors picked up new contacts entering the system, fast-moving ships approaching. From the far edge, Krill signatures, Merrick confirmed, 5 ships, moving in attack formation. The Vark officer looked directly at Rena. "If you wish to prove you are not our enemy, then help us survive the next hour." Rena gave a sharp nod. "Understood. We will hold them off." She cut the channel and turned to her crew. "Battle stations, target the lead Krill ship and disable its engines. Do not destroy unless necessary." The Horizon Spear moved into position beside the Vark cruiser. The Krill ships closed the distance quickly, their sharp, angular hulls cutting through the darkness. Bright energy blasts lit the void as the Krill opened fire. The Horizon Spear shields flared under the first impact, but they held. Leon directed. "Power to the forward cannons. and with precise aim. The crew fired a concentrated burst at the lead krill ship. The blast tore through its engines, sending it drifting out of formation. The remaining krill ships shifted their attack, but now they faced fire from both the humans and the Vark. Working together, the two forces began to push the attackers back. Within minutes, the krill formation broke. Two ships retreated into faster-than-light travel, and the others scattered into the outer system. The fight was over almost as quickly as it had begun. Rena took a slow breath and looked toward the Vark cruiser. They had fought side by side, but she knew this did not make them allies, not yet. The Vark officer appeared on the screen again. His voice was calmer now. "You are skilled. Your ship is faster than we expected. Perhaps our message was wrong about your kind. Perhaps," Rena said. "But we still need to talk about why you sent it." The Vark officer gave a slow nod. "Then follow us to a safe location. There is much you must understand." As the Vark ships began to move, the Horizon Spear followed. The first contact had been made, but not on the Vark's terms. The Horizon Spear traveled in quiet formation with the Vark ships. The damaged Vark cruiser moved slowly, its hull scorched and its shields barely holding. Smaller escort vessels kept close watch, their eyes still wary of the human ship that had appeared uninvited. Captain Rena kept her vessel at a respectful distance, following the Vark's course through the rocky outskirts of the system. The crew worked in silence, scanning for more signs of the krill. The battle had been quick, but the attackers had shown skill. Rena knew they would not stay away for long. The Vark led them to a barren moon orbiting a gas giant. From the surface, a network of hangars and defense towers rose like black spires against the dim light. As they approached, the Vark cruiser sent a signal, and heavy blast doors slid open to reveal a shielded docking bay. Once inside, both ships powered down their main weapons. Rena and her second officer Tomas prepared to meet the Vark commander. In person, they stepped onto the docking platform, where the air shimmered with the faint glow of energy shields holding the atmosphere in place. The Vark officer from the earlier transmission waited for them. His tall frame was wrapped in dark, layered armor, and his blue eyes studied Rena with sharp focus. "I'm Commander Varsh," he said. "You fought well, human captain." "That is not praise I give lightly." Rena gave a polite nod. "We did what was necessary to survive. The krill seemed determined to destroy you. We would like to know why." Varesh's gaze shifted, and for a moment his expression grew darker. "Because the krill have no other purpose but to take. They consume resources, enslave populations, and strip worlds until nothing remains. Our colony was one of their latest targets. We called to our allies for help, but they have been slow to answer." Tomas spoke carefully. "Your message included a warning about humanity. Why?" Varsh hesitated. "Because in times of war, any unknown can become a weapon for the enemy. Some among our council feared that if you learned of the conflict, you might side with the krill. Others feared you would take advantage of our weakness." Rena's voice remained steady. "We do not seek to conquer. But if you or the krill threaten Earth, we will act." Your warning made it sound like you already see us as a danger. Varsh gave a slow nod. "That is because you are. Not in intention, perhaps, but in potential. The krill have watched your growth. They see that you are still young as a spacefaring species, but your technology is advancing quickly. They believe you will one day challenge them. That is why they will come for you as well." The room grew quiet. Rena understood the unspoken truth. The krill's war with the Vark was not just about territory. It was about eliminating any possible threat before it could rise. Humanity had been placed on that list. Varsh motioned for them to follow. He led them through the base, past tall corridors lined with strange symbols and flickering screens. They entered a strategy hall where a large holographic map floated in the air. It showed several star systems marked in red, each with shifting symbols that represented battles in progress. "These are outer colonies," Varsh said. "3 have already fallen." The krill did not always arrive with large fleets. Sometimes they send small forces to destroy trade routes or attack supply stations. "The goal is to weaken us before the final strike." Rena studied the map. And the system that sent the signal we intercepted? Varsh zoomed the display to a single star near the map's edge. That was Varna's 4. A mining colony, rich in metals used for our shipbuilding. The Krill struck without warning. Our defenders held for days, but the enemy's numbers grew. We sent the call to our allies. But only a few ships have arrived. You were not supposed to hear it, Tomas frowned. But we did. And now that we have, we cannot ignore it. Varesh's expression was unreadable. Your presence here changes the balance. The Krill will know you have entered the conflict. They will not hesitate to strike Earth directly if they see advantage in it. Rena met his gaze. Then perhaps it is better that we face them now, here, before they reach us. Varsh seemed to weigh her words. Finally, he spoke again. You are bold, Captain Rena. Boldness can be strength or destruction, depending on how it is used. If you truly wish to help, then you must understand the enemy fully. He activated another display, showing the Krill fleet. Their ships were dark and angular, built for speed and aggression. Weapons jutted from their hulls like claws, and their engines glowed a deep, menacing red. The Krill are not united by honor or shared rule, Varsh explained. They are united by hunger. Their commanders compete for victory and resources, which makes them unpredictable. But it also means they can be turned against each other if one is made to appear weak. Rena studied the image, her mind already thinking of strategies. If we can disrupt their supply lines or force them into conflict with themselves, they may lose momentum. Varsh gave a small nod. Exactly. But doing so will require precise strikes, and the Krill will not forgive failure. As the meeting ended, Rena and Tomas returned to the Horizon Spear. The crew gathered in the command room, listening as Rena relayed what they had learned. The Krill are not just a threat to the Vark. She said, they are a threat to us as well. If we wait for them to come to Earth, we will be fighting on our own soil. That cannot happen. Merrick leaned forward. So we help the Vark. We help ourselves by stopping the Krill before they grow stronger, Rena replied. But we will not become the Vark's tools. We work with them on equal terms, or not at all. The decision was made. The Horizon Spear would join the Vark in a limited operation against the Krill. Their first goal cut off the Krill raiding fleet before it could regroup. Outside, the barren moon spun slowly in the cold dark. Somewhere beyond its shadow, the Krill were already planning their next strike. But now, the humans were in the game, and the enemy behind the curtain was no longer hidden. The station above Mars was a picture of tension. Humans had been working for weeks to prepare for the enemy fleet. Soldiers moved with quiet urgency, engineers checked systems again and again, and commanders studied tactical maps projected across the command table. The message from the alien allies had been clear. The enemy fleet was larger than expected, and far better armed. Captain Rehan stood in front of the wide observation window. Mars glowed below, its red surface dotted with the lights of human cities and research bases. It was a proud sign of how far humanity had come. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders. Behind him, Commander Amina stepped forward, holding a tablet with the latest readiness report. Defenses are 95% complete, she said. We have 10 hours until the enemy arrives. The fleet is on standby. Ground-based cannons are locked and charged. Orbital mines are armed. The new plasma turrets on the East Ridge have passed their final test. Rand nodded. And the civilian ships, all evacuation ships, left orbit 2 hours ago. Amina replied. They are headed to secure zones beyond Jupiter. We won't have to worry about civilian casualties here. In the operations bay, rows of screens showed images from across the solar system. Distant human fleets formed defensive lines around Mars, Earth, and the asteroid belt. Each ship had its crew ready to fight. The atmosphere was heavy but determined. Humanity was not going to run down in the hangar bay. Pilots checked their fighters. Many of them were young, but well-trained. One of them, Pilot Musa, adjusted his helmet and looked at his wing partner. We're going to make history today, he said, trying to sound confident. His partner gave him a short nod, their eyes showing the same mix of fear and pride. Hours passed like minutes. Then the alert sirens rang across the station, red lights. Flash, a voice on the comm system spoke with urgency. Enemy fleet detected. Entering the outer perimeter. All units to battle stations. Rehan walked quickly to the command seat. Put the fleet on full alert. Activate all defense platforms. Engage in coordinated fire when they come within range, outside. Space filled with movement. Hundreds of enemy ships came into view, each one sleek and armed with glowing weapons. They moved in perfect formation, like a predator ready to strike. The alien allies' warning had been correct. This was a force meant to destroy. The first wave of enemy fire struck the outer defense satellites. Shields flared, absorbing the impact, but the satellites were lost in seconds. Human ships responded instantly. Laser beams and kinetic rounds streaked through the dark. Finding their marks among the enemy lines, explosions lit up the void as several enemy craft broke apart from the surface of Mars. Massive cannons launched plasma bolts toward the enemy ships. The heat of the weapons lit the thin atmosphere for miles. Each strike shook the enemy's advance, forcing them to scatter. Rehan gave the next order. Deploy the drone swarms. Keep them moving fast. Don't give the enemy time to lock on. Thousands of small combat drones launched from hidden bays. They darted between enemy ships, releasing bursts of energy and EMP charges. While they couldn't destroy the largest ships, they disrupted targeting systems and forced the enemy to waste firepower. In the middle of the battle, Musa's fighter squadron dived straight into enemy lines. They targeted weak points on the enemy cruisers, weaving through hostile fire. Musa's voice came through the comms. Direct hit on Cruiser 6, target disabled. His wing partner followed with another strike, and the damaged cruiser broke apart in a flash of light, but the enemy was relentless. More ships kept arriving through the edge of the system. Ren saw the numbers rising on the display. They were outnumbered nearly 3-1. Yet every human crew fought with precision, refusing to give ground. On the far flank, Commander Amina coordinated a dangerous maneuver. Several human destroyers moved in close to a cluster of enemy battleships. They unleashed concentrated fire before pulling back, drawing the enemy into range of hidden railgun platforms stationed on nearby asteroids. The sudden attack shattered half the enemy formation on that side. Rehan's voice was calm but firm. Over the comms, hold your ground. Every ship matters. Every second counts. We will not let them pass. The enemy fleet began to push harder, focusing on breaking through the center of the human defense line. Heavy bombardments shook Mars's shields, and some defense platforms were lost. But the humans adapted quickly, closing gaps and reinforcing weak points. In one decisive moment, Ren ordered the activation of the final defense measure, a massive gravity well generator hidden in orbit around Mars. When it powered up, the enemy ships caught in its pull slowed dramatically, their formations breaking apart. Human ships swarmed in, delivering precise strikes that tore through the now vulnerable vessels. By the time the gravity well deactivated, dozens of enemy ships were destroyed, and the survivors began pulling back to regroup. Cheers erupted across the command center. Musa's voice came through the comms, slightly out of breath. They're retreating from Sector 7. We're holding, Captain. Rehan allowed himself a small nod. Good, but this is not over. They'll be back, and next time, they'll be ready for what we just did. The humans had survived the first great test of the battle. They had proven they could stand against the enemy, no matter the odds. But deep inside, Rehan knew this was only the beginning. The enemy would return with even greater force, and the real war was yet to come. Mars remained in human hands, but the price of holding it was only now becoming clear. Every person on the station understood the truth. Humanity's unbreakable. Stan had started, and there was no turning back. The battle above Mars had shaken the enemy, but it had also shown Earth how dangerous the war would be. Captain Rehan and Commander Amina gathered with Earth Fleet's top leaders in a large conference room. Aboard the command station, the holographic map of the solar system floated in the center, marked with red and green dots showing enemy and human fleets. Admiral Vega's voice was calm but firm. The Krill will not stop their attacks. We saw their strength and cunning. We must prepare for a longer war. Earth cannot stand alone. Captain Rena stood at Vega's side. She had returned from the Vark system just days ago, bringing vital information and an offer of alliance. The Vark are willing to join forces with us, she said. Their fleets are strong, but they need our help to hold their borders. Together, we have a better chance. Several commanders nodded, but one senior officer raised a concern. We are still learning about the Vark. Can we trust them? This is the first time humanity is making a real alliance with an alien race. Rena met his gaze. Trust is built in battle, not meetings. We must start working together now. The decision was made to form a joint Earth-Vark task force. Ships from both fleets would train together, share tactics, and prepare for coordinated strikes against the Krill. Back on the Horizon Spear, Rena prepared for her next mission. This time, she would lead a strike team deep into Krill space to disrupt their supply lines. The crew worked fast, upgrading their weapons and studying new maps provided by Vark intelligence. As the ship left for the mission, Rena reflected on how far humanity had come. Not long ago, Earth's fleets were scattered and uncoordinated. Now, humans and Vark fought side by side against a common enemy. Meanwhile, on Earth, the population was not idle. Cities worked to support the war effort. Factories produced ships and weapons around the clock. Scientists raced to improve technology. People everywhere understood the danger and stood ready. In space, the joint task force moved cautiously. The Krill were unpredictable and brutal. Small patrols tried to ambush the humans and Vark at every turn, but Rena's team was prepared. Using a mix of human tactics and Vark strategies, they struck quickly and vanished before the Krill could respond. During one daring raid, Rena's ship disabled a key Krill supply station on a small moon. The explosion lit the dark surface like a second sun. It was a heavy blow to the Krill's logistics, forcing them to reroute supplies through longer, more dangerous paths. Back at the task force base, the Vark commander Varsh praised Rena. You fight with skill and courage. Earth's place in this war is certain now. But the war was far from over. Intelligence reports showed the Krill preparing a massive counterattack. Their fleets were gathering near the border between Vark and human space. It would be the largest battle yet. Captain Rehan received the news aboard the Mars command station. He knew the coming fight would test everything humanity had learned. The battle would decide whether Earth and its allies could hold their ground or be pushed back. On the Horizon Spear, Rena gathered her crew. This is not just a fight for survival. It is a fight for our future. We stand not only for ourselves, but for every world that wants peace. The crew nodded. Ready for the challenge, the joint fleets formed up, preparing to meet the Krill head-on. The stars beyond the system seemed colder, darker, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. And in that silence before the storm, humanity's resolve burned brighter than ever. The battle was over. The vast space near Vesta Prime was silent once again. But the scars of war remained. Human and Vark fleets had fought side by side, pushing back the Krill threat with determination and skill. The victory had not come without cost. Many ships were damaged or lost, and countless brave souls would not return home. But the victory was real. Captain Rena stood on the bridge of the Horizon Spear, watching the stars through the wide viewport. The distant glow of the Vark homeworld shone ahead, a symbol of the fragile alliance that had helped turn the tide. Around her, the crew moved with quiet relief, their faces tired but proud. This was only the beginning, Rena said softly to her second officer Tomas. The galaxy will not forget that Earth stood up to the Krill. Tomas nodded. We showed them that humanity is no longer a young species. We have strength, and we have friends. Back on Earth, the news of the victory spread quickly. Cities lit up in celebration, but leaders reminded everyone that the war was not finished. The Krill were retreating for now, but they would return. This new era of cooperation between humans and Vark was just the first step toward lasting peace. Admiral Vega addressed the fleet commanders in a special broadcast. Today, we are not just defenders of Earth. We are part of a larger force. Together with the Vark and other allies we will shape a safer galaxy. The Alliance had opened doors that no one had imagined before. Scientists began sharing knowledge across species. Trade routes were reopened, guarded by the combined strength of the Allies. Diplomatic talks started to reach other civilizations, some of whom had watched humanity's rise from afar. But Captain Rena knew that vigilance must remain. The galaxy was full of dangers, and the Krill's hunger was not easily sated. The victory had given humanity a new place in the stars, but it was also a reminder of how fragile peace could be. The Horizon Spear set a new course for the next mission, a journey to find other species who might join the Alliance. Rena gathered her crew. Our fight has made us stronger. Now, we reach beyond old fears and old battles. We are no longer alone. As the ship slipped into faster-than-light travel, the stars outside stretched into bright lines. The future was uncertain, but it was filled with hope. Humanity had sent a clear message. They're ready to defend their home, to stand with others, and to become a new power in the galaxy. And no one would forget the day Earth's fury became a beacon of strength for all who dreamed of peace